Okay. Okay, here we are. Draft analysis. Draft analysis. Okay, so this is actually pretty exciting. So it's the final like draft league of the 3DS. As some of you know, this is the WBE. I won it season 1 and season 2. I think they had a Let's Go season. They don't talk about it. I didn't want to be a part of it. I don't have Let's Go. I don't even know how to record my Switch yet. Gonna have to figure that one out. But yeah, it's really exciting. So they've undertaken a pretty ambitious project here. I believe there's 28 coaches in this singles draft league. And yeah, I'm the defending champ of both season 1 and season 2. So the really cool thing about it is by having so many coaches, so the way that draft league works is that each Pokemon can only be used once. And so normally you have a league which falls between like 8 and 16. 16 is kind of high normally. And that just means that you have to be really creative with like the Pokemon you pick, because you know you have to wait like upwards of 30 people between your picks often, or sometimes, you know, and you have to start making your team without knowing how it's going to end up. So it encourages like creativity, it encourages flexibility, it encourages being able to build without like necessarily your plans always working. And so it's you know, it can be challenging. And so to have 28 coaches here, that's quite a sizable amount, and it also means that you're going to be really limited in building, which makes it really difficult. But it's also really exciting because, of course, you know, it's the challenge is what makes it cool, you know? And so I'm very excited about this. I'm really happy to be a part of it. I'm very grateful to be in this league. I have a lot of fun with it. The WB is my first singles league, and it's kind of what got me started in the whole thing. And I really do enjoy them. I think they're a lot of fun. I do wish I had more time to prep because I'm pretty busy at the moment, but I feel like I can handle one league, you know, one game a week, you know, even if I don't prep that much, it's fine. But yeah, so it's the WBE season, I don't know if it's 3 or 4, but it's very cool. And the prize is actually a belt. So there was no prize for season 1 or season 2, so I'm going to try and win this one to get a belt. But with all that being said, overall draft strategy. Let's talk about that, then I'll get into the mons and we'll be done here. So a couple things to note. The way that the draft works is normally you draft 11 Pokemon. You draft a tier 1, a tier 2, normally you draft 2 tier 3s, a tier 4, a tier 5, a Mega, we're up to 6. A Mega, 7, can count, and then 4 free Pokemon. And the difference in this league is that you only get 1 tier 3 Pokemon given to you. Everything else is the same. You still get 4 free Pokemon to use, and different leagues have different like point rules. Normally they follow the same rules with the tierings, but the Megas are different. So in this league, the way that it works is Mega tier 1s actually cost you 40 points, whereas in some other leagues they actually cost you nothing. And then a tier 2 Mega in this league costs you 0 points, whereas in like the APA, for example, it would give you 40 points. So that's something that's important to note here. So you only get 10 Pokemon versus 11, which is actually pretty significant in my opinion. Like the extra Pokemon change, especially out of the tier 3, can be pretty important. Tier 3s are still very solid Pokemon, and so, yeah. So let's talk about overall draft strategy that I had going into this. So normally when I do draft leagues, pretty much whenever, what I try to do is I figure, first of all, I ask myself, what do I want? Like, is there anything really good that I think I need to take right now before it goes? And I normally like to look at Pokemon that I think are in lower tiers than they should be. So since every league has different tiers, normally there's a Pokemon, you know, one place or another that I personally think is a lower tier than it should be. And because of that, the way that I normally do my draft strategy is I try to get a jump on people by picking from lower tiers earlier, and taking things that I think are personally higher value, with the assumption that I can go back and pick up the higher things once I have my like lower tiers rounded out. Because the theory is the Pokemon in the higher tiers are generally better Pokemon, so they can fit with more. But in the lower tiers, there are more specific needs to fill. So that's generally how I like to do things. However, for this league, I knew that I couldn't do that because there's so many people, and there's so many, like, just the fact that so many people are picking, like the fact that I don't know if it's 28. I think it's 28. I don't have a way of finding out. Yeah, but just the fact that there's so many people in between when you pick is that you can't really make a solid draft strategy in this, because you can look at the whole board and say, okay, I think I want this, and you can look at what you've drafted so far and then think about things that you would want to take next. But realistically, you can't plan ahead at all, and you also can't assume that there's going to be good things left over, because just like there's Pokemon that are lower tiers than they should, there's also Pokemon that are higher tiers than they should, and so you might get stuck with, like, I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who wants to watch other people's draft analysis, but like at the end, we ran out of tier 1s in the end, so somebody was forced to take the last tier 1, and that might not be a Pokemon that they actually wanted, you know? And so with all that being said, I knew that I couldn't just do what I always did, which is pick from lower tiers and then like pick up good stuff from the higher tiers that was left over. I knew that wasn't going to work. So that's my overall draft strategy, and influenced the order in which I picked a lot. So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Okay, I have a draft sheet here. I'll show you it at the end. But I just showed it and showed everything that I picked. So, okay. But this will help me for reference. So, okay, first pick.
A few moments later.
I was number 11, yeah, out of 28. So I was right about that. Okay, cool. So I was number 28. Blah, blah, blah. I was number 11, sorry. I was number 11 out of 28. And so I was right in the middle. And so it got to me, you know, some people before me, they took some good stuff. I think somebody took Mew. I think somebody took Jirachi. Didn't matter. They didn't take the only thing that could stop me, which was Tornadus T. Boop! The most strong Pokemon ever. Like, it's so good. It beats everything. It's unbeatable. It's so good. Yeah, of course I was taking Tornadus T. I don't have to say anything about it. Like, it's the first pick, and I don't know. It's too good to pass up. I do think I did lose in the APA with Tornadus T. So, you know, it's not unbeatable, but yeah, it's okay. I don't care. I wanted it. Like, the thing is with the draft this hectic, I knew that I was gonna be struggling for hazard. Like, you can't have everything, right? And because you have to make sacrifices in a draft like this. And so normally the things that you want in your team are speed, power. Speed is really important. Power is important. Like, ability to sweep is important. And then you want hazard support, which means you want things that can set hazards, and you also want things that can remove them. And so Tornadus T gave me speed. It kind of gave me power, not really. It didn't really give me sweeping potential, but speed, pivoting ability, like switching in ability, focus dash, holding ability, and defog is really important. And also, I just like having Tornadus T in general. Like, I really like the ability to taunt things. I like the ability to take things items, and I like the ability to pivot out. And so, yeah, I took Tornadus T. That's kind of, I mean, you guys know. I wasn't not going to take Tornadus T if it was available. So that was my first pick. Let's see, what did I pick next? So I took Tornadus first. That was my first pick, right? And the way, so I was looking at it and I was like, okay, for my free points, you can either take, basically I had to choose between if I wanted a tier 1 Mega and, yeah, a tier 1 Mega or a tier 2 Mega. And I realized if I took a tier 2 Mega, then I could take a tier 2 Mega, a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 4, and tier 5. Whereas if I took a tier 1 Mega, I would have to take 2 tier 2s and two tier 4s. So I was weighing the pros and cons, and in the end I decided, like, I think I'm going to take another tier 1, because I'll take a tier 2 Mega, which allows me to pick a tier 1, because there were some good tier 2 Megas, and I felt like the ability to have, like, 2 tier 1s on a team would be really good. And so, also I had my eye on, boop, Excadrill. Excadrill is the second thing I picked. Don't know that much to say about it. I knew that Tornadus is pretty bulky and not that offensive, and I really liked Excadrill in the APA for the few weeks I had it, just because Choice Scarf Excadrill, because it does Mold Breaker, it's just like a very solid ground type Earthquake abuser, and it's a sweeper, right? And I knew that I was probably gonna have trouble with sweepers in this draft, and so I think it pairs well with Tornadus in a couple of ways. Number one, weak to electric, or Tornadus is weak to electric and rock and ice, and Excadrill resists electric and rock. And Excadrill can only not hit grass-type Pokemon and flying-type Pokemon, and Tornadus is one of the best Pokemon to have against flying-type Pokemon for a number of reasons. And so that was pretty valuable in my opinion. And then, yeah, like, Excadrill's weak to fighting and ground, both of which Tornadus resists. Obviously, there's other weaknesses as well, but, yeah, I don't know. Like, I figured Excadrill, it gets Rapid Spin, it gets Stealth Rock. Not that it's normally going to be using those moves, but it's at least an option, which is nice. It can be fairly one-dimensional, I think, but I think that one dimension is pretty strong. And of course, you can run other sets as well. And yeah, I just figured it was like a solid overall pick, and I liked the sweeping potential. I liked that it was a Pokemon that if Tornadus is you turning out into like things, Excadrill is a really good thing to bring in, and so I thought it benefited a lot from the ability to pivot. So that was my second pick. I used both these mons before, but my next pick I did not use before. So it was my third pick. I was like, I gotta take my Mega, right? No, like, this is the time to take my Mega. Megas are going. I don't know how much longer they're going to be around. And for a while, I thought I was going to take Mega Aerodactyl. Before I chose Excadrill, I thought I could take Mega Aerodactyl, because I thought it could be like a pretty strong mon with its high base speed and ability to set Stealth Rock and Defog and Roost and stuff. But in the end, I think I was going to take Mega Aerodactyl Hippodon. I think that was my plan. But it just like didn't synergize at all with Tornadus T having 2 flying types. And so I knew I didn't want Mega Aerodactyl in the end. And so I was looking at the other tier 2 Megas. And in the end, I decided, hey, this mon's pretty good, I think. And I chose Mega Blastoise. So Mega Blastoise is a mon that's always like interested me. I think it's really cool. So far I've got a Defogger and 2 Rapid Spinners, which is nice. The one thing about Blastoise is Blastoise isn't that fast, and also it doesn't have any recovery, and those are 2 kind of important things that it's lacking. However, it has really good coverage moves. You can't really switch into it. And it doesn't have to be like a sweeper necessarily. It can still be like a bulky mon that like nothing can switch into, you know? And so I knew I wanted to tier 2 Mega. Like, I was also thinking about Mega Aggron before I chose Excadrill as well, but it's just, I don't know, Blastoise just appealed to me more. I don't exactly know why, but Blastoise just like felt better to me. It adds an electric weakness, so we have 2 of those. It adds a grass weakness, which we have 1 resist for. Adds a water and fire resist. I knew I was going to need a bulky water at some point, and so even though this one doesn't have recovery, you can always run rest. Not that I think I should, but yeah, I don't know. Like, Blastoise just seemed like a solid mon. I like the ability to rapid spin. It doesn't set hazards, which is kind of problematic. My only hazard setter at the moment is Excadrill. Like I said, you have to make sacrifices. So far, I was choosing to sacrifice. Hazards, but yeah, I don't know. I think Blastoise is overall a pretty solid mon. I mean, I've never used it before in VGC or in singles, but I just thought it looked solid. So yeah, I chose Blastoise. It's kind of like a bulky pivot mon. Not too much to say about it. I'm excited to use it. I've never used it before. So, yeah. So my next pick, I think I was torn between Amoonguss. I think I was thinking about Amoonguss because I knew I wanted a bulky grass type. But I was also thinking about Shaman. So, in the end, I was like, Blastoise, like not much power. Tornadus, not that much power. And I was kind of thinking back to my first season of the WBE, and I thought, like, I was thinking, well, my hazards are already looking kind of bad, right? So I might have to like pay attention to that. And so I knew that I was like going to be weak on hazards, so I knew I had to compensate in another way. So I chose kind of to go the more offensive pressure route. And so I ended up taking Gengar. Regular Gengar is actually a pretty big threat in singles. You can run Choice Specs, you can run Choice Scarf. I knew I wanted to Poison type at some point, and so I was torn between Amoonguss and Gengar. Oh yeah, but like, so I knew I wanted either Amoonguss or Gengar. And so the problem with taking Amoonguss is, 1, it's really slow, and 2, it kind of locked me down for my plans at the time, because I was like, oh, if I take Gengar, I can take Shaman as well. And even though Shaman ended up being taken, so I couldn't grab it, that was my original plan. And I just like the Gengar, even though it's frailer, it's not really my style of mon. If I can just position well, it just puts on so much pressure. And between Gengar and Excadrill, like, you're just like, it's 2 Pokemon that really, really, if you get them into position, they can just be like taking knockouts every turn. And I think Pokemon like Blastoise and Tornadus benefit a lot from Pokemon like Gengar and Excadrill, and vice versa as well, because the ability to put on so much pressure and to kind of force your opponent to make sacrifices when you have bulky mons you can pivot into, and then reposition that way, I think it's a really solid combination. So, yeah, Gengar, it was a solid mon in tier 2. The Pokemon were going fast, so I had to make, like I said, I had to make some sacrifices here. But yeah, I like Gengar a lot when I used it. I think it actually is a pretty, first of all, it has really diverse move pool, which is nice. And the second thing is that it has a lot of different sets it can use. Like, obviously Specs and Scarf are both pretty good, but yeah, definitely not the only things it can do. Okay, so I was thinking about taking Amoonguss, like I said, but then I took Gengar, and then I was thinking about taking Shaman, but Adrive actually took Shaman. So then it was my turn, and I was like, man, like, I remember looking at the list and being like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in trouble. There's like nothing I want in tier 2, like nothing goes well with my team. And then I saw something that I was like, wait a second, that could actually be really good. So I drafted a new Pokemon that I've never used before. One of the 2 so far that I've never used before, and that is Mandibuzz Anderson. So Mandibuzz is, I was looking at it and I was like, wait, why would I take Mandibuzz? Like, that doesn't make sense. That's a flying typing. Like, I don't really get it. But I was like, I kind of feel like I need a dark type. And then I was thinking about my team, and I was like, wait, Mandibuzz is super bulky. It can run Rocky Helmet to punish physical attackers. It can be bulky on both the physical and the special side. It's one of the few things that can like deal with Mega Gallade and Mega Medicham. Like, even if they hit you like on the switch in, it can be pretty threatening. It has Defog, it has Roost, it has Taunt, it has Foul Play, it has Toxic. It has slow U-turn, which is pretty important in my opinion. Slow U-turn can be really, really nice to pivot into these Pokemon, like I've said, like Excadrill and Gengar. And the thing about Mandibuzz that Tornadus doesn't have is that Mandibuzz is actually slower. So what that lets you do is, if you switch in Tornadus, for example, but like aside from Tornadus being less bulky, sometimes you have to play a game of like, oh, are they going to stay in or are they going to switch out? And if they switch out and you U-turn, that's great. But if they stay in and you U-turn, sometimes you might like end up having to go into a Pokemon that you didn't want to go into. The difference with Mandibuzz is because Mandibuzz is slower, it can often U-turn after the opponent already attacks, and that's really valuable because that lets you bring in a sweeper without having the sweeper take damage. And so dark typing is really good because I wanted a dark type. I didn't have anything for psychic types. I was worried about Mega Medicham, Mega Gallade. Mandibuzz can at least, like, I believe it can go even with them with the right set. Like, you might need to do something there. But yeah, good support moves. And like I said, like my team is 5 Pokemon and 4 of them have Hazard Control. Like I have 2 Defoggers and 2 Rapid Spinners, so that is a pretty valuable thing in and of itself. So yeah, I don't know. I felt really good about Mandibuzz, and I felt like Mandibuzz is probably gonna be I feel like Mandibuzz is gonna be the backbone of this team, to be honest. Like Mandibuzz, in a lot of like I was looking at what other people drafted, and there was a lot of times where I was like, I don't have anything that can deal with this. And then I had Mandibuzz, and I was like, okay, Mandibuzz is one of those things that, you know, Calm Mind Lati's, like Mandibuzz, with the right set can do. Nothing else in this team so far can do that if it gets out of position or stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon that I feel like Mandibuzz just kind of patches, and so that's why I took it. And I really do feel like Mandibuzz is a good pick here, so let's see. My next pick, I believe, let me just confirm this. Yeah, so my next pick, it was tier 3, and Chainman was gone. There was some other stuff that I was thinking about, but in the end, I decided to take Gigalith. Gigalith is the other part of the defensive core here. Number one, it gives me the Sand option. I don't know how good Sand Stream plus Excadrill is going to be, because like Excadrill is not really something you want to be switching in. They share a lot of weaknesses, but it is an option. Gigalith is my second Stealth Rock user on the team, which is kind of bad. But there's a lot of, like, there's some Pokemon, like, for example, Kyurem Black is one of them, where Gigalith is kind of one of the only things on this team that can switch into it. Of course, like, depending on the set. And, yeah, like, for Tier 3, I at least want to make my opponents be aware of the fact that I have Excadrill and Gigalith. Like, I feel like that's something that I want them to have to respect. I don't know how often I'll end up bringing it, but it's a threatening combination for sure. Gigalith gives me a Stealth Rock user. It's like a more consistent Stealth Rock user than Excadrill thanks to its bulk. It's a really strong, it can hit really strong with Z-Rock. It also has, like, it can run multiple Z moves that hit coverage moves, or with coverage moves, like Z-Ground for Steel types and stuff like that. It can run Explosion to get free switch-ins. It can run Smooth Rock or whatever the one is, that Hard Rock. Whichever one extends Sandstorm for more sand. Overrides opposing weather, which isn't a big deal, to be honest. Yeah, Stealth Rock, Rock type, very bulky physically, can run Assault Vest, has a lot of good options that it can use, and overall just like a solid mon. And yeah, pairs well with Excadrill, doesn't have too many weaknesses like ground, grass, water. Not amazing, obviously, like a third ground weakness is kind of bad, but we do have 2 immunes with Mandibuzz and Tornadus, so yeah. Overall, I really did feel like Z-Rock Landorus T could be a problem. I gotta be careful against that. Someone remind me about that when I had to play Landorus T. Well, my team's not done yet. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, so, I don't know. Gigalith, pretty straightforward. There was, like, Pokemon are going fast, so I didn't have that many options from Tier 3, I think. Even if I did, I felt like from the beginning, once I took Excadrill, I knew that taking Gigalith could be a really valuable thing. I do like the hazard support that it provides, and I like the bulk that it provides. And I like that it's supporting Excadrill. Because I was thinking about Hippodon from Tier 2, but it just doesn't... It has even worse synergy than Gigalith. Okay, Tier 4 is next. So my remaining picks, I have 2 Tier 4s and 2 Tier 5s. And I actually think I did a good job overall with them. For Tier 4, I knew that I needed a Grass type. I knew that I wanted Shaman, I wanted a Moongus, I let them both get away, I wanted Tangrowth, I let that get away, and I knew that I had to take a Grass type. And the thing is, a lot of the Grass types that were left were pretty bad, and like not something that I could see myself bringing. But there was one that actually caught my eye that I thought, it doesn't offer hazard support, it's not that offensive, but it does have good bulk, and it can actually, it has good coverage, and it's fast. And my team, like I said, my team is kind of dichotomous here. I've got a lot of fast mons and a lot of slow mons. And so my 7th pick is Virizion. Virizion's a mon that I've actually always liked. I just never used it. It's really cool in theory. It has both Calm Mind and, like, you can run Calm Mind, Giga Drain, Focus Blast, because now I'm a singles player. We can run Focus Blast because I'm not a VGC player anymore. It can run Swords Dance, Close Combat. It has Z moves. You can run Z Focus Blast, Z Close Combat. Really nice speed tier. Another Pokemon that's just generally pretty fast. Like Gengar, Tornadus, Virizion, and Excadrill and Sand are obviously like all very fast Pokemon, and I think that's pretty valuable in singles. Yeah, Virizion, I don't know that much to say about it. It can be bulky, it can be offensive. It has really nice base special defense, natural set special defense. Yeah, I like the ability to set up. I think I'm pretty sure it gets Taunt. I'm pretty sure it gets Roar. You can do a lot of different things. And I was looking at my team, and I was like, guys, I have nothing for Manaphy on this team. Like, Manaphy just blows through my whole team. And I was like, oh, here's a Grass type that's faster that can actually threaten it. So, I am glad that we have that on the team. Next pick, I know my order now. My next pick was... I was thinking about Shuckle, because I was thinking of doing Shuckle and then taking Combuskin and then doing some fun stuff with, like, Baton Pass into Shuckle and then, like, set up or something, I don't know. And I was thinking about, like, Sticky Webs is the main thing, and it would give me another Stealth Rock user. And so I was thinking about Shuckle, but like it adds a rock type, which I already have. It doesn't really do that much offensively. It's kind of easy to play against. It doesn't like actually exert any pressure. And yeah, I don't know. Like I was really thinking about it, but in the end I decided maybe not Shuckle, and instead I took Weezing. So Weezing adds a defensive poison type, which is nice, but more importantly, Weezing adds toxic spikes. And at this point in the draft, I was looking through people's teams, and about half of them didn't even have a poison type, like a grounded poison type on it. And like in a draft like this, where you know a lot of the good defoggers and rapid spinners are going to be taken, and I have a bunch of them as well. Like there's some teams that just don't have good hazard removal, and toxic spikes are a very valuable resource, and of course sticky webs are as well. But I don't know. Weezing is a really nice physical wall. It walls a lot of Pokemon. It's good against fighting types. It's another ground immunity. As you may have noticed, my last two picks, Virizion and Weezing, are a nice ground immunity. Are a nice. What am I saying? Virizion and Weezing are both good ground answers. Weezing gets Will-O-Wisp, it gets Toxic, which can't miss. It gets Toxic Spite, it gets Pain Split, it gets Haze. There's a lot of things that it can do. And overall, I felt like it benefited my team a lot. And it does have a Psychic weakness, but we're pretty good on the Psychic front. I mean, we did take Virizion, and we have Gengar as well, but we have Excadrill and Mandibuzz. I guess that's it. So I guess Psychic types could be a problem, but I don't anticipate bringing Weezing, Excadrill, Gengar all together. So it's just kind of opening up options for me. The other thing about having a 10-mon team is that's one less spot for defoggers and rapid spinners. So, yeah, like I said, if I can set toxic spikes versus some teams, I think it could be really valuable. I think they're one of the best hazards. And yeah, like I said, because I have rapid spin, because I have two good rapid spin users on my team, I do feel like setting hazards in general, even though my team isn't that good at it, it can be more valuable to me. Especially because Blastoise, I think, is just going to play a more defensive role, where sometimes it can afford to just come in and take hazards and then maybe use an attack, but it doesn't have to do anything crazy fancy. So yeah, Weezing was my 8th pick. My ninth pick is actually really cool, and I'm excited to use it. It's Alolan Golem. So I didn't know this thing's type. I'll be honest with you, I had to look it up, or somebody told me. I thought it was Steel type. My Fitbit won't sync, which is why I keep doing that. I just want my Fitbit to tell the time correctly. Alolan Golem is really cool. It's actually used in OU singles sometimes because it gets Magnet Pull, and so it can trap things like Celesteela. My team doesn't have a fire type. That's one of the big weaknesses of it. So Celesteela kind of just kills the whole team. So Alolan Golem at least gives me something against that. And I have a couple other options as well. Mandibuzz can do some stuff. Blastoise obviously can do some stuff, but yeah, something like Celesteela is just going to be really problematic for this team. So hope we don't play it. But yeah, that could be really difficult for us. So that's something that I was aware of. And Golem Alolan, because I don't have a fire type on this team, I like the ability to trap steel types. I think they offer in Choice Scarf, but you can do other stuff as well. I think it's electric and rock type. It also gets galvanized. But in general, I was looking at fire types in tier 5, and I was gonna take Pyroar, but it's weak to rocks, and it's just not that good of a Pokemon. And I really like Alolan Golem because it forces your opponent. If you trade Golem for Celesteela, I'll be honest, that's a pretty good trade. And I'm pretty sure the Z moves from this thing are going to be pretty strong. It has very good base defense, although I don't know if it lives like Celesteela or Earthquake. I also don't think Celesteela gets Earthquake, which is kind of weird because it's the heaviest Pokemon. Maybe it gets Earthquake. I don't think it does. Yeah, I don't know. It's another Stealth Rock user. It's another Rock type, which is bad, but it does give me an Electric type, which is good. And it's going to be more of a situational thing anyway. I don't anticipate bringing it very often, but I do think it's kind of an interesting mod, and I'm excited to use it. So I think it could be a lot of fun. And then last but not least, for my last pick, I was thinking about taking Wigglytuff. I was thinking about taking a bunch of stuff, but my last pick ended up being Duosion, the mid-L Reuniclus. So this gives me another Regenerator user. It actually has the same base special attack as Reuniclus, I think, which is kind of nutty. It is forced to run Eviolite, so you can't run Life Orb, Magic Guard, but you get Regenerator or Magic Guard, both of which are very good. It gives you a second Regenerator Tornadus T, very good coverage, good offenses, and for a tier 5 Eviolite user, I was looks pretty solid. MV actually suggested this one to me. He was I was talking about what I wanted, and I was Wigglytuff just doesn't really fit. And I don't know. So yeah, I think Reuniclus is really cool. I mean, Duosion is really cool. I really enjoy Reuniclus as a Pokemon. So don't really know how this one's gonna go, but we're we're gonna find out. But yeah, that's my team. Let me know what you think. The final team is Blastoise, Tornadus T, Excadrill, Gengar, Mandibuzz, Virizion, Weezing, Gigalith, Golem Alolan. I'm not bringing it. It's too hard to say. And then middle Reuniclus, Duosion. Dosian. Anyway, that's the team. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Very excited for the season. Hopefully we'll do well. Hopefully we'll win again. I really want that belt. The prize is this is like wrestling belt, and I would quite like to have it. My confidence is a little shaken after APA, but I feel like I'm not gonna let it, we're gonna bounce back. This is our redemption arc. He crit us through +3 on a team with no Darmanitan switch-ins. If we hit the whatever. Anyway. I'm excited. I'm gonna do my best. It's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be very difficult. I don't expect to win, but I'm gonna try my hardest. Yeah, and I hope you guys will support me. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you for week 1. Goodbye.